So this is the series for healthcare workers, nurses, or anybody who's on their feet for an extended period of time. And it's a series of 4 videos. And the first one starts off with the most basic and works its way up to being on your feet and getting more involved. So you can either do all 4 videos in a row, or you can do them one at a time and work your way up. But I hope this helps alleviate some of the pain that you might be having. And feel free to let me know if you have any questions. This is video 1. You're going to need a wall. And we're going to put our legs up it. So I like to get as close to the wall as I can. You can maybe leave 4 inches. And then swing the legs up the wall. Now, this is something we're going to do for 5 minutes, but I'm going to encourage you to pause this video, set a timer for yourself, and make it 5 minutes. Things to make this more comfortable is to put padding beneath your heels, wear socks, or put padding underneath your sacrum. So pause the video and meet me back here in 5 minutes. And we're just going to turn our attention to our right foot. And you can bring it off the wall. Also know that your hip to wall ratio can be a lot different if your hamstrings are tight. So if you're way back here, that's okay. We're going to point and flex our right foot. And just point, you can stay on the wall and flex. It's a little bit easier if you have socks on, but I always encourage just to be barefoot. And just focus on what your big toe is doing as you point and flex. Make sure it's not trying to turn out, turn in. Good, and we'll hold it in the pointed position. And then flex and try to spread all your toes apart. And then we'll turn our attention to our left foot. So just start to point and flex, bending your knees as much as you need to. Again, trying to keep that left big toe on its own straight line. And then point and hold it in the pointed position. And then flex, spreading the toes as much as you can. If you can't spread them, then this is something to work on every day. And then bring it back to a neutral position. Next one is we're going to scooch our way back to place our feet flat on the wall. So you can do it as awkward as I did it, or you can get up and move away. Make sure your feet are hip distance apart and your toes are pointing up. Slight external rotation is okay, but for the sake of this, we're really trying to remain neutral. I'm going to place my hands on my thighs. They don't have to be straight. And start to squeeze your glutes. So if you don't know if they're on, give them a quick poke. No one's in the room with you, right? Squeeze them and start to lift your tailbone off the ground. Then take your hands that are on your thighs and try to slide your hands up towards your knees like you're grabbing your thigh flesh and pushing it away. And breathe here. We're trying to create space in the low back. And just know that you can change your distance away from the wall at any time you need to. Still squeezing the glutes and rooting through the feet on the wall. Expand your rib cage. 2 more breaths in. Exhale. Last one in. And then slowly lower the low back on to the ground. So from here, we're going to move on to the hip joints. So our feet tend to be a reflection of what's happening at the hips. So if we can start to address the hips a little bit better, we'll be able to have feet that feel better. Same thing with this one. You can change the distance away from the wall. I like to be shin distance I'm going to cross my right ankle on top of my left. For some of you, if this isn't available, you're more than welcome to cross the right thigh over the left. And then you'll just gently press your shins together. But for those of us in figure 4, we're going to keep the right foot flexed and make sure this hip doesn't kick out. So keep it in line. And this might be enough of a stretch for you. This is step 1. If you want to add on, you can use the right thigh and help it try to reach towards the wall. You can use your right hand to encourage that. If you don't feel a stretch at this distance, you can always scoot your butt closer to the wall. Keep these right toes flexed. Even try to spread them apart here if needed. Good. Hold this stretch for as long as you want, but for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna switch and move on to the other side. Place your left ankle on top of your right thigh and notice if there's a difference. Sometimes we are asymmetrical beings and we tend to favor a side. You can use this left hand. Try not to torque on the knee. Use the thigh so that way you can move from your hip joint instead of your knee joint. Flex that left foot. Keep trying to curl the tailbone upwards to make space in that low back. Extra advanced is trying to turn on the low core to help create space. Good. And then from here, we'll make our way up to seated. So roll onto one side, come on up. And last but not least, you can do this in a chair or from seated. We're just gonna do ankle circles. So roll the ankles in one direction, got a good pop out there. Our ankles are not a ball and socket joint, so it's not gonna look super pretty as if we were to move our shoulders and hips. But it's just enough to kind of create some space for our tendons and for our muscles. And don't forget to go each direction. We'll switch sides. You can do one direction first or one after the other. Try not to let your toes lead the movement. Try to let the movement come from the ankles because some people like to crunch their toes. Try to keep the toes neutral.